This is going to be one long review. Even though it does look more or less the same as the Galaxy S22 Ultra, there are a lot of changes under the hood and I want to highlight all of that. I discovered a lot of hidden details and even hidden features that Samsung didn't highlight. And since we have also updated our review methodology, a lot of details were also discovered about the usual things that we usually do. So we'll go through all of our usual 8 points and all of them are timestamped below, so you can skip to whichever section that tickles your fancy. So let's begin with the review. So we'll start off with the usual, the design. It comes in a total of 4 different colors: cream, green, lavender, and also phantom black. The lavender color is similar to what Samsung had in the past, whereby the cream and green are 2 of my favorite colors for this generation and I can't really decide which one to get. So I got both of them instead. Phantom black is the same as what we had previously and nothing beats the timelessness of black color. The Galaxy S23 Ultra also looks very similar to the S22 Ultra, but there are a few differences. The overall dimension is actually longer and also slightly wider than before, and the geometry has also changed to a more boxier design. The phone's frame is now squarer, resulting in a much more comfortable grip on the phone. This is especially true if you want to hold the phone like this, or if you want to try to press the power or volume buttons. The S Pen is still placed at the bottom left corner of the phone, which I am perfectly fine with it. As a side effect of the boxier design though, the display is also much flatter than before. In turn, it does improve the gesture navigation experience too. And since we are talking about the display, the Galaxy S23 Ultra still comes with a 6.8-inch dynamic AMOLED 2X display that goes all the way up to a maximum of 3088 by 1440 pixels in resolution. However, by default, the Galaxy S23 is using 2316 by 1080 pixels. So remember to head into the settings menu to change this setting when you unbox it. The refresh rate also ranges from 120Hz and goes all the way down to 10Hz as shown in the Galaxy Max Hertz app. Truthfully speaking, I have high expectations for this display. I expect it to be one of the best displays out there, and it clearly is. Using our colorimeter, we tested its color accuracy and it covers 99.99% of sRGB and 99.86% of DCI-P3 color gamuts. And as for Adobe RGB, it covers 89.39% too. The maximum delta E number is 2.69, nice, which is considered okay. Anything below 3 is considered good for the delta E. And then the maximum brightness of this phone. We turned on manual brightness and also turned on the extra brightness option and cranked it all the way up, and it is only at 750 nits maximum average brightness, which is the same as the Galaxy S22 Ultra, the Z Fold 4 and also the Z Flip 4. And this still remains the highest brightness among all smartphones that we have tested so far. But remember, Samsung claimed that the Galaxy S22 Ultra and the Galaxy S23 Ultra to go all the way up to 1750 nits of peak brightness. I am determined this time to find out the true maximum brightness of the display, but I was stuck. After some discussion with Mr. John, I immediately realized that I can do just that by playing a HDR video. So thankfully, there are a lot of weird videos on YouTube and I immediately found what I needed. A HDR video showing pure white color, and I gotta thank Canada. When we crank up the brightness all the way to the maximum and then turn on extra brightness, we are able to get 1185 nits in total. However, I did discover that there is a bug. If we turn off extra brightness and then play the same white color HDR video, the phone can actually achieve 1242 nits of brightness. And either way, anything above 1000 nits is just purely amazing. Seriously, this is an insanely bright display, and so far, nothing beats Samsung when it comes to their display's brightness and also color accuracy. And now the cameras. This is where I'll spend the majority of the time talking about the Galaxy S23 Ultra, and it seems like it has the same camera setup as the Galaxy S22 Ultra from last year, but the main thing that changed in terms of hardware is the main camera. It is now using a 200 megapixel sensor, so is it actually good? Obviously, as we all know, Samsung flagship phones will take good pictures, and as you can see here, all of these pictures were taken during a very rainy day. It isn't exactly bright outside, but that's not a problem. Inside or outside, dimly lit or gloomy outdoors, It does take good pictures overall, and we already know that, so this is no different after all. However, what I want to focus in this review is actually the night shots instead. The night shots here are actually stunning. It was dark outside, but the phone managed to capture some light and also bring highlights back to the clouds in the sky as well. Generally, by using auto mode, the night shots will need 1 second of exposure time, which is very short compared to the S22 Ultra. What I'm impressed by is actually the 10 times night zoom shots. Usually, zoomed night shots are a disaster because you need to stay still since the phone will need a longer exposure time, but you will also need a tripod to get the best possible picture overall. Any small handshake though is also amplified 10 times since, if you zoom in 10 times, small vibrations is amplified 10 times since you zoom in 10 times. And this is where the new Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra's OIS system comes into play. With ±3 degrees of OIS stabilization and also an improved ISP, which stands for Image Signal Processor, it reduced the time needed to take the night shots, and the OIS also helps stabilize the phone even further, hence resulting in this kind of 10 times night shots. This was taken by me by just holding the phone. It's actually impressive, and this is not achievable without a tripod before this. Speaking of zoom shots, let's take a look at a few more pictures. I took a lot of shots that goes from 0.6 zoom to 1 times to 3 times to 10 times and then to 30 times and finally to 100 times zoom. I'm still impressed by what it can do. I mean, I wouldn't know that this construction crane actually has an air conditioning unit there, and that is thanks to the 100 times zoom of the Galaxy S23 Ultra. Of course, who can forget about the moon shots? I went out and the moon was right in front of me, so I couldn't resist and I whipped out the phone and took a moon shot. I can't explain or show it to you, but the new OIS system with ±3 degrees of stabilization really made moon shots a lot easier for shaky hands like mine. Now then, the new sensor can take up to 50 or 200 megapixel shots too. I realized that taking pics at 50 or 200 megapixels means that the HDR isn't as aggressive, hence the overall exposure of the image will differ from the standard 12 megapixel mode. However, you can capture lots of details with 200 megapixels. I don't really want to repeat myself about the benefits of the 200 megapixel sensor, and you can check that out in our Xiaomi 12T Pro review, which is linked at the top right corner there instead. Overall, if you got a 200 megapixel sensor, you can take really high detail shots, especially if you want to zoom it in or crop after you take the picture. All of those flexibilities are only possible with a high resolution sensor like the 200 megapixel one found in the Galaxy S23 Ultra. I also quickly want to mention about the Expert RAW app. It has been updated and we now have a few new options like the Astrophoto mode and also the multi-exposure mode. But exclusively for the Galaxy S23 Ultra, we can also now take 50 megapixel shots using Expert RAW mode. I think that combining Expert RAW with 50 megapixel mode on the Galaxy S23 Ultra on a tripod, this phone will be able to take some very amazing shots, and if you do have any, do leave them down in the comment section below and I will be very glad to see them. And then one more thing that I want to highlight is that I'm sure many guys will want to know about the shutter length of this device. So here's a quick test, but I'll have to explain something first. In a darker environment, the shutter will take a longer time since it needs to do a lot more processing after the fact to make the picture look good. So we'll be comparing the shutter speed between the Galaxy S22 Ultra and the S23 Ultra using our studio lights that we have here for a more controlled test. Well, obviously the shutter length on the Galaxy S23 Ultra is a lot better. Now, how about videography then? Well, of course, the Galaxy S23 Ultra can capture up to 4K 60fps or 8K 30fps, but focusing on night video alone this time around, the video quality does look good, but then again, thanks to the better OIS system, there are fewer OIS artifacts overall. And this is why we chose to do night video for this test. Okay, now let's talk about the performance. For this new generation of the Galaxy S23 series, all of them are using the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chipset across the board for all regions. However, from what I can find out, the reason why Samsung has this special Snapdragon for Galaxy logo is because they do have a mild overclock on both the CPU and GPU, but the overclock is so mild that I will consider it to be mostly negligible. But when we did our gaming test, what we found out is that the Galaxy S23 Ultra is able to perform very well in Genshin Impact at the highest graphical settings, and I'm just very impressed by the performance of this phone. Samsung did tell us that the Galaxy S23 has a larger cooling system, but they didn't specify which variant of the Galaxy S23 has it, but I think it is very safe to assume that the Ultra version has it. So after playing Genshin Impact at the highest graphical settings at 60 FPS for about 30 minutes or so, the temperature is kept around 40 degrees Celsius for the screen, and the highest temperature that I can find is actually on the frame of the phone, which is at around 42 degrees Celsius. Again, very impressive, and this is the first time that a Samsung flagship smartphone has an uncompromised gaming experience. By the way, there is also one feature that I'm very sure no one found out, and Samsung never mentioned this. Did you know that the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra has the bypass battery feature? If you don't know what is the bypass battery feature, then let me draw it out for you. Usually a phone is connected to the battery while gaming, so we have to charge the battery while the battery itself is also being depleted at the same time, hence generating more heat and also drastically deteriorate the battery life's health. With bypass charging, you can just skip the battery entirely and play your game, hence it is healthier for your battery and also less heat overall. Usually, this bypass battery feature is only found in flagship gaming smartphones like the Black Shark series or the ROG phones, and I truly didn't expect that the Galaxy S23 Ultra to have this feature, which is just amazing. And best of all, the Galaxy S23 Ultra's battery bypass feature also supports all USB PD chargers, just like the ROG phone series, so you don't need any proprietary charger bullcrap to use this feature at all. I tried it with this random 30W Ugreen charger that I have lying around, and it works like a charm. Now, how's the battery life itself then? Using our usual PCMark battery life test at 100 nits of brightness at 3088 by 1440 pixels in resolution, the Galaxy S23 Ultra's 5000 mAh battery can last for about 13 hours. Overall, it is not far from the other Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 smartphone that we have recently unboxed, and the review of that phone should be coming out about a day later when this review has been published, so you can check it out at the top right corner there as well. As for the charging speed though, it remains unchanged. It still takes a maximum of 45 watts only, and the situation is more or less the same as last year. However, we used two chargers to test the charging speed this time around. First, we used the Ugreen 100W GaN charger just like last year, and this charger does have USB PD 3.0 with PPS support, and the charging curve is indeed weird. It takes a little shy of 80 minutes to charge from 15 minutes to completion, and the battery is less than 40 degrees Celsius all the time. But what I did realize is that there is a clear dip when it comes to the charging speed, which results in a flatter slope, but the temperature also immediately dropped when the charging speed dropped as well. Then I took another 65 watts USB PD 3.0 PPS charger from another phone that we were reviewing that time, and it had a completely different charging curve. For whatever reason, it charged much faster, from 15% to completion in less than an hour, and the temperature is also less than 40 degrees Celsius all the time. But the charging speed goes up and down frequently to control the phone's temperature. When the charging speed slows down, the temperature goes down as well. When the temperature goes down enough, then the charging speed ramps up once again, and this behavior continues until the battery reaches about 55% of charge. What perplexed me though is that our wattmeter cable reports 28 watts for both chargers. However, from the data we've gathered, they obviously perform differently, and I can't confirm what is happening to this phone. And in terms of software, the Galaxy S23 Ultra is running the latest One UI 5.1, and it largely remains the same as the Galaxy Z Fold 4 or the Galaxy S22 Ultra at its recent update. I still very much love One UI for all the features it has to offer, and Samsung also recently added a lot more features to their accessories as well. For example, in the camera app, we now can record 360-degree audio when paired with the Samsung Galaxy Buds 2 Pro, and Good Lock is also now available in more regions across the world, including Malaysia, which I absolutely love. Good Lock is very useful because it offers both utility and aesthetics customization, and I just love when companies give us all of these options to play around with. Samsung Pay has now also been updated to Samsung Wallet for a lot more regions across the world, and Bixby routines have graduated from the lab subsection of the settings menu into its own dedicated option called moods and routines. I still love this feature a lot because I can make a lot of custom actions. For example, when I open YouTube app, then it will automatically rotate to landscape mode, and then when I launch an app, it will automatically set the volume to high or whatever that I want to do with it. I mean, this feature is just very convenient to use. There is yet another feature added to the S Pen via software as well. We can now write on the search bar instead of using an S Pen to write on the keyboard. Yay, I guess. I mean, this surely is a handy feature to have, but I personally don't think this is that significant. Samsung should have put more focus on the bypass charging feature while gaming instead of this write to text feature. Overall though, the S Pen remains the same as last year, same function, same dimension, same size, same weight, and still has the same feel when writing on the screen, and you can watch our previous review of the Galaxy S22 Ultra for that instead. Alright, a few more things that I want to mention. I have seen a lot of people arguing over the internet because they claim Samsung is using the new UFS 4.0, LPDDR5X and whatnot. So let's do a quick test using the A1SD Bench app. Clearly, the Galaxy S23 Ultra is faster than my S22 Ultra, so I guess the new S23 Ultra is using UFS 4.0 and LPDDR5X. And to those who wonder how's the speaker of the Galaxy S23 Ultra, this is for you. What I don't like though is the placement of the bottom speaker, which is always blocked by my hand when I'm gaming. Of course, the Galaxy S23 Ultra is also using a USB 3.0 port at the bottom, and it can also output HDMI over USB Type-C so that we can use features like Samsung DeX and whatnot. The Galaxy S23 Ultra also has double nano SIM card slots with no expandable storage, and this time it is still also rated for IP68, dust and water resistance. So what is the summary of the Galaxy S23? Well, I can summarize it to just this one very long sentence. The Galaxy S23 Ultra is uncompromised on all fronts. Cameras, display, battery life, and especially gaming. Plus, it also has the S Pen and everything is encased in this beautiful design. The Galaxy S23 is an obvious improvement over the Galaxy S22 Ultra even though they look similar. While the design is subjective, the performance upgrade is obviously leaps and bounds better than the Galaxy S22 Ultra, partly thanks to the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chipset and also an enlarged cooling system alongside with the inclusion of a bypass battery feature. Seriously, Samsung, you need to highlight the bypass battery feature a lot more. And for the price, well, I know for some regions the price has remained the same as the Galaxy S22 Ultra, while some regions have a slight increase over the S22 Ultra. I'm not going to judge this phone by its price because it surely is expensive. However, if you want the best uncompromised flagship smartphone that is also a hybrid gaming smartphone, then the Galaxy S23 Ultra is an obvious choice to get. And especially for US customers, do use our affiliate links down in the description below for an additional $50 Samsung credit as well. And that is all for the review of the Galaxy S23 Ultra. This is a very long video, and I hope that all of the information presented in this video is helpful to you. And if you like this video, then do caress that like button for us. And if you do have any additional questions, do leave them down in the comment section below. We'll try to help you out whenever we can. And also do subscribe because we will have another video where we compare the Galaxy S22 Ultra and S23 Ultra's camera. So yeah, do subscribe and watch the video when it comes out. Yay, stay safe everyone, and we'll see you guys in the next video.